Ready.
Yo, blessed love, this is Max Breeze. It's time for the lions to tell them own story. See? God bless.
Blessed love. Yes, I. Lion Voice Network.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I too. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Ras Tafari.
The time has come for lions to tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Ras hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men and blessed. Yeah man, hail him from St. Croix, Rastafari, hail you. Aye.
Empress man and a young science. You're wrong. Universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the Lion's Voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the Lion's Voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. But people rise. We got reprieve for all. And yes, the Lion's Voice become the voice. Hey, the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Trent of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying, hail to the Lion Voice, because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here, hear me now. Yeah, the Lion's Voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Faraka. Must come for the lioness to tell her story, her viewpoint, and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the Lion's Voice.
Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Well, great is the Almighty, and great to the praised city of Haile Selassie first, among the best.
Get to Cairo, to the Nile, you know.
The joy of the Holy Messiah from Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, beautiful continent, oh mama, Africa.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile.
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I seen Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilizing green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first without apology. And then we build the youth them economy. We dismantle Babylon monopoly. We teach the youth them how to live properly. Tell them make sure them got the title fit them property.
Yes, this beautiful continent that I'm gonna show my.
iRoots Records, an online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Ras Tafari books. Ras Tafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from Frontline Publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. So invite fly, use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come.
321 Productions and RBG Alliance presents the 3rd annual Conscious Reggae Concert Family Unity Fest,
Featuring the Abyssinians, Aisha Bell, Mary Isaacs, Roger Galux, I Brave, and many more at the Jammings in New Kingston. 2,500 pre-sold, 3,000 at the door. Children under 12 for free. Don't miss the Abyssinians live in Kingston, Jamaica. Can't be missed. History.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziro Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Voice Live. Welcome to Lion Voice Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. This morning or this afternoon, wherever you are, we are headed to the Lion Mountain of Sierra Leone. We have the Rastafari Council of Sierra Leone. We are going to find out what's happening in Lion Mountain, one of the first places of repatriation on the planet. We go into the history, we go into the works, and most importantly, we're going to find out how the global Lion Pride family can support the works that are happening on Lion Mountain, one of our key nodes in West Africa. So today we have a special episode. If you are a regular Lion Voice Network watcher, I know you're saying, Ras, what is going on behind the eye? And you have to know that my daughter just turned 18. Big celebration took place yesterday all day, celebrating my daughter's birthday. So you see behind I is a whole heap of bashment, as we would say in Jamaica. Big things are going. I'm getting to go off to university. We're so proud. Firstborn. So parents will know that special place the firstborn have. And of course, I didn't do the decoration. My queen did all the decoration. So big up to the queens out there who take that extra time to make the youth them feel special. You know what I mean? We give thanks for that. And yeah, so it's going to be a little silvery today, a little shiny today. But don't worry yourself. Just don't say it's a family affair here on the Lion Voice Network. Also, do remember tomorrow afternoon, the town hall meeting will be taking place. Empress Danielle will be sharing with us how to prepare for things to come. We are not just talking over here, as Queen Mother Moses always say, talk shop lock, workshop open. So we are not just about the reasoning here. The reasoning is important because, as His Majesty showed us, education is the foundation for liberation. So we have to educate ourselves, which is why we do these interviews, to educate the global family about our community, who we are, what are the works that are happening. We make efforts to bring the workers on here. We don't bring the people who just want to run off their mouth. We bring the people who are doing positive, progressive works on the platform to talk about what they're doing, and so that the IDEM can support these works. And we are building a very powerful community. You know what I mean? We're building a very powerful community. I'm happy to report that we are at 48 subscribers, monthly subscribers. We just added a new subscriber. Sometimes we lose subscribers, so that's why you see it fluctuate. But we just added the great Sister Aisha Diana Collingwood came on board. She said she would. She followed her word. So big up my good sister. And, you know, she just adds to the caliber of people that we have as monthly subscribers in our network. So we are going to be doing some very focused kind of works in terms of building ourselves. You know what I mean? But I'm going to talk about that later. Make sure you tap in. It's not too late to become a part of our monthly subscribers and tap in tomorrow. The link will go out later today for the Zoom. And we, again, will not be recording. We will not be recording the presentation as we have been requested, sensitive nature, where some of the information was sourced. We will not be recording that presentation. So if you want to see the presentation, you have to be there live. So all of my Lion Pride on Patreon, try to get there on time so we can get this thing going. It's going to be powerful. I know Empress Danielle don't really play around. She left corporate America, 6-figure income job to, do some entrepreneurial works. So we are with our Kingman, and we're going to have our Kingman on the platform as well soon. Serious brethren, you know what I mean? So we are looking forward for this community, and we're going to continue. We are at 72,000 subscribers here on the Lion Voice Network and climbing. So give thanks to everyone who, you know what I mean? Give thanks to all of the ones who have been supporting over the years. I'm going to bring forward our guests. I see them there. We're having a little bit of Wi-Fi challenges in Sierra Leone. You know, when we bring in our Africa guests, we're at the mercy of the Wi-Fi and the connection. So we're having a little bit of Wi-Fi issue. but we are working hard to try to get everybody in. We're gonna work with what we work with. We know how we do it here at Lion Voice, cutting edge. You know what I mean? We work with what we work with. So all of the items, just big up yourself and know that we are doing the best we can to bring forward the family. So I'm gonna introduce the family right now. Help us to give a warm welcome to our Rastafari Council of Sierra Leone family. Hold on one second. Let me bring forward Royal Blessings family.
Greetings.
Greetings. So royal. I'm gonna allow the item to introduce themselves. Chief Foday made his appearance here, but he's now here in his fullness. When he's with the Queen, you know that is the fullness. You know what I mean? We just peace. But we'll start with Sister Jande. Please introduce yourself, Sister Jande, to the global Lion Pride family.
Greetings. I am Janice Demby, member of the Ras Tafari Council, Sierra Leone.
Give thanks. And what type of work does the I do, Sister Jande? What type of work does the I do? It sounds like.
Sorry, I can't get you clearly. I'm on my way traveling to the east end of the country. So can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, no problem. Our audience knows back of field, so we'll come forward to the eye. Let's go to Chief Foday, and I see that Empress Mary has joined. We're working on her connection. All right. So, Chief Foday, please just reintroduce yourself and the Royal Queen for us.
Absolutely. So I'm Chief Foday Ajamu Mansoure, also known as Mansour Foday Ajamu. I serve as a member of the Rastafari Council of Sierra Leone, also the EWF 150 out here, also a member of the UNIA-ACL. So if it got to do with African people, liberation, and our own independent spirituality, I'm all for it. Next beside me is my wife, Empress Kenya. She can introduce herself.
Yes, greetings everyone. My name is Empress Kenya Malinte Mansoure. I am a member for the Rastafari Council. I'm also a member with EWF and UNIA as well. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to start with the I, Sister Kenya, because we heard from the King, man. We know the levels. But let's get a little bit of your history. Were you born in Sierra Leone? Because I hear like you have some American intonation. Were you born in Sierra Leone?
Okay, so I am born and raised in the United States in Midwest. I'm originally from Chicago, moved to Milwaukee, and then I came here to Sierra Leone, repatriated here in 2015.
Okay, and what made you make that move?
This guy. Well, actually, I was supposed to come like a year before 2000, I want to say 14, but Ebola outbreak happened for about almost 2 years and delayed my repatriation. But I met him doing the work. I met him already working on behalf of Sierra Leoneans. He was an organizer, an international organizer, and I met him doing a tour of local politicians and Pan-Africans here in Sierra Leone. He did a national tour in America, and I was a radio personality. I did produce like radio shows, and so I saw the work that he was doing, reached out to him, scheduled an interview with him, and he delivered one of the most dynamic interviews we had on our platform.
Wow. Word, sound, and power. Were you already Rastafari before you met this brother, or was
he?
Okay, so he was responsible for your journey to Rastafari.
Yes,
Wow, that's powerful. And we didn't, I'm gonna come forward to you, Sister Kenny, but we didn't get your journey to Rastafari, Chief Foday. How did you come into the knowledge of Rastafari, or why did you choose
Well,
that journey?
For me, I had encountered Rastafari very early in my life. One of my grandfathers was Jamaican, so I always grew up with like a Caribbean awareness of my identity to my mother's side. And so if I heard reggae music, if I heard patois, I would try to at least understand it, you know? I didn't turn into what you would call like a Jamaican, so to speak, right? But I knew that I had this Caribbean heritage in me, and I always took pride in it. So that's one of the main reasons that I was always interested. But in my own life journey, I came across several Rastafarians who were very influential and impactful in my life. One of them, I was previously incarcerated at one point in my life, and I met a brother on the inside named Joel Daniels, Ras Joel.
Okay.
And he was radical, brother. I mean, he didn't play about Babylon. They could not handle him, but he was the most intelligent and kind inmate in the whole camp when you really got to know him. And so talking to him, he really opened my eyes around Rastafari, Nazarite vow. I ultimately grew my locks originally for about 12 years.
Yes.
And I think the Rastafari for me was more about the political commitment to Pan-Africanism.
Okay.
Also, my attraction to it was the faith in His Imperial Majesty.
Yes.
I grew up, of course, I'm an American guy, right? I grew up in the U.S. And when I was young, Ethiopia, if you said Ethiopia, I was thinking the commercials.
Yes.
You know, the dollar a day commercials. I was thinking, you know, poor babies with big bellies.
Yes.
And I talked to another brother who's very influential in my own understanding, Ras Abib. And he always says how growing up, he grew up, every time he would walk to the bathroom, he would walk past a photo of His Imperial Majesty. He would walk past a photo of a black emperor. You know? And so in his mind, Ethiopia was something royal, something imperial, something powerful. But in the typical black American mind in the 80s, it was something degenerate, something undesirable, you understand?
Yes, yes.
And so I think learning the history of the technology behind why we don't know enough about His Imperial Majesty, and not only him, but his family's devotion and dedication to African sovereignty, is a complete cover-up for me. So understanding the political implications of hiding His Imperial Majesty's existence from the African world, not allowing us to really have an understanding, because right now we're talking about African Liberation Day.
Yes.
And usually we talk about it, we talk about Kwame Nkrumah, we talk about all the Pan-Africanists except for His Imperial Majesty. And the reality is that we don't get an African Liberation Day without His Imperial Majesty.
Facts.
And that's not taught. It's not the main thing. And so just seeing like the way that they try to cover up Rastafari, the way they try to paint Rastafari as some criminal culture, some marijuana crazed individuals, right? Just the way that the Babylon tries to portray. I say that attracted me more and more and more to the radicalism of Rastafari.
Okay.
When I came to Sierra Leone, I wouldn't say that I was a Rastafari in terms of self-identity. But if you talk about the heart and the intentions and the mission, I was already on it. You know, as a Garveyite, I was already on the Rastafari mission.
Yes.
But when I got here to Sierra Leone and I became part of the Rastafari community here, I began to learn more from actually living among.
Okay.
And ultimately it just became, I can't say it was a point where I said, okay, I'm going to be. It was natural. It was a natural progression of my own spiritual journey. I'm very deep into African spirituality. I haven't been involved in Orthodox religion for decades. So I'm always looking for something that's grounded in Africa, but also rooted in the diaspora experience. And when I came here, one of the strongest experiences or the strongest cultural influences that I could find was Rastafari. That came directly from the diaspora, something I could identify with and say, yeah, You know, I know what this is. You know, I'm familiar with this right here. This is from us, and it became like the ultimate, I'll say, cultural diplomacy between dealing with Native brothers and sisters from this country who are Rastas and Pan-Africanists, and then myself and my wife who also come from an independent African spiritualist background and Garveyites, you know. So Rastafari kind of grew on me, but I'll say that I really embraced it here. I said maybe around the last 10 years. The last 10 years has really been my lifestyle. It's been the way that I live. It's been the way that I think. It's been my faith. And I always say that I'm a student. I'm learning, and at the same time, I'm serving. So within that, I'm growing within the faith.
No, I give thanks, and I give thanks for that testimony, because there is evidence that you don't have to have locks to be Rastafari. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And you know, a lot of people would see the eye and the bald head, and you know, they would say, "How is this brethren Rastafari?" But we have to get rid of that idea, because really, as the eye said, really, Rastafari is determined by your faith and your lifestyle. You know, the locks is just one branch of the levity. And remember that Leonard P. Howell didn't have locks. You know what I mean? The early Rastafari didn't have locks. So that was brought in by the youth, you know, like Ras Bona G's and some of the elders who are now ancestors, who were watching the Mau Mau and looking at number 6, the Nazarite vow and certain things. They were the ones that introduced locks to the faith. But the early Rastafari, and even if we go earlier, and I know Sister Kenya will like this. I don't know if Sister Kenya knows about the Rastafarites in Chicago. You know? Okay, yes. You know, Grover Redding.
Yeah, 1919.
Yes. Go ahead.
I never knew that. I never knew that we were connected in that way to Rastafarianism. So give thanks.
It's very important too. It's very important what you're saying too, because a lot of times you think Rastafari, you immediately think Jamaica, and you think Leonard P. Howe forward, but you don't realize that Rastafari was already well known and recognized and supported within at least the United States prior to even the coronation, and so even by 11 years, even sending the diplomacy out, I read somewhere that even Emperor, what was his name?
Menelik?
Yeah, Menelik. That even Menelik was also engaged in diplomacy with the African diaspora and was inviting us to return. So this is something about, this is a dynasty. This is a family thing. You have to go back even farther beyond His Imperial Majesty to get the full influence and the full understanding of his significance.
Yes, the liberation. Because that's one of the main propaganda points that they're using right now to divide us, is that Africans sold us. They never wanted us. They don't want us there. You know, so if you don't know that history about the diplomacy and the outreach, particularly to Black Americans, then you can be easily fooled into thinking that that's true. You know what I mean? Not knowing that Ethiopia, His Majesty was granting lands, you know, to Black America, job opportunities to Black Americans from the early 30s, you know, and outreaching from the 1919 period, and also his connection with the UNIA. I'm gonna go to the ambassador, our brother Ras Culture. Ras Culture, can you unmute yourself, my brother? We're having a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue. I also see Sister Mary was trying to join, but we're gonna work through it. We're gonna make it work. Ras Culture, can you unmute and introduce yourself? You may have to go out and come back in. Until then, we do have the Black family here, so we'll continue with the Black family here. I'm so fascinated with your journey, Sister Kenya, because I know it's not easy coming from America your whole life. Chicago is not a small city. You know what I mean? This is one of the major metropolises of America. And then relocating yourself for love. You know what I mean? It's a love story. Relocating yourself for love to Sierra Leone. What was that like, moving to Sierra Leone, and what has been your experience there?
So, first and foremost, of course, he was the main thing that really brought me here. But I've always loved Africa. I always wanted to come.
Okay.
And being in the movement as a Pan-Africanist and a Black nationalist, I was able to come in contact with so many different personalities, interview some of the top scholars throughout the years. And so when I came in contact with him, and he was actually in the midst of working with Africans, like, we're always talking about Africa as like some far out thing, but he was a person who was actually working hand in hand with Africans. I never really seen that before. I see everybody like wearing dashiki, speaking Swahili, this, that, and the third, but to be actually working in collaboration with Africans, I never saw it before. So that's one of the things that intrigued me. He was doing the work already. He was far within the work. As a young brother, I was seeing things I haven't really seen before, so I was really intrigued with that. And so the work really brought us together. So him being his self, he immediately invited me to his organization, and I joined. So that's how I really started. And he told me that he was gonna be repatriating within a month, and I was like, really? What? I knew people that went on a visit to Egypt or a visit to Ghana for a week or two, and that was that. But to see somebody actually picking up their whole life and going to Africa for the work, I was down. So I immediately joined the organization. From there, we was working, and the relationship just grew from that. He eventually repatriated over, made his repatriation. We were still doing the work, and we decided to like make this thing, we're both doing the work, and we made it official. And from there, I was ready to come. But as I said before, early 2014, the Ebola outbreak happened. Sierra Leone was impacted the most out of all the three countries. We lost over, I want to say, 4,000 plus people. Wow. We also had survivors. We campaigned throughout the Ebola outbreak. We did a whole lot of different work. So I was really ready to come after it. I actually came 2 weeks after they said that Ebola was eradicated.
Okay.
Afterwards, it was zero count after they confirmed they had their last case, and it had been some time, and they made the announcement. I got my plane ticket, and I was here 2 weeks after that, and I'm here now.
Give thanks. I'm going to come forward to that. And I have a show called Lion Love. I need the two of the item on my Lion Love show. We got to get this full love story, because, we're laughing, but it's important, because we can't build a movement without strong families. You know what I mean? And we have to show young people how this thing works, you know what I mean, in terms of family life, and get deeper into long-term, stable, healthy relationships in the movement, because that's one of the things that's hurting us. All right, Ras Culture, let's see if you can unmute. Can you say something? Ras Culture, can you hear me? And if someone can, yes, Ras Culture, talk to me.
Okay. Yes, greetings.
Yes, blessings. Please introduce yourself for the global family once again, Ras Culture, the ambassador.
Yes, I give thanks, and thanks to colleagues for holding the fort. I am Ambassador Muhammad Lewix Bangura, known as Ras Culture. I am the Secretary General of the Ras Tafari Council of Sierra Leone, and as well, I am the president of the Ethiopia World Federation Local 15 chapter in Sierra Leone. So I give thanks and happy to be here. Sorry for coming late.
No problem, my brother. We understand. We overstand. While we have you, what is the history of the Rastafari movement in Sierra Leone? When is the first time that people saw Rastafari brethren in Sierra Leone?
He got froze.
He's got froze. Okay. And
Yeah.
Sister Mary's trying, but her mic and her camera are not connected. So it's saying devices.
I can give you some background. I can give you a little bit of background.
Give us some background.
Yeah, man. So, first of all, you know, Sierra Leone has a very strong connection to the Caribbeans anyway.
Yes.
And to Pan-Africanism and to repatriation, which is core principles of Rastafari. So there's already like a connection. There's already like something there, right? When you talk about Pan-Africanism, you can't talk about it without Edward Blyden. Edward Blyden is buried here. You know, he served as a politician, as a scholar here in Liberia, but he came from the Virgin Islands, right? Went to the United States, faced the racism, and said, no, I'd rather go to Liberia. Went to Liberia and then chose Freetown. So first of all, you have the background of Freetown, the Lion Mountains, being the first location in Africa where Africans returned back from across the Atlantic.
Yes.
This is the birthplace of repatriation. And so in it, you had people come back at different times in different ways from different parts of the diaspora and from different parts of Africa as well. So the first wave, you had them coming back from London by way of basically the United States.
Okay.
Then the second wave, you had them coming
Give
from
us some
Nova Scotia,
dates.
Canada.
Give us some dates, Baba. Give us some dates, King.
All right, no doubt. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you full scale. So, 1787, you have a group called the Black Poor. The British call it the Black Poor. They come back from London. They get put on a boat. They come back from London with the Sierra Leone Company. The Sierra Leone Company is a company that's chartered by white abolitionists from Britain. And they're seeking to colonize, spread Christianity, and open up basically capitalist commerce in Africa. And they're pitching this as the next wave after slavery. So slavery is too costly now. We need to suppress slavery and we need to build these colonies. And so even though they get called white abolitionists, they actually were early colonizers, right? And so, the Freetown colony has that dual dynamic, whereas it was the first place where freed Africans found a home, found a settlement on the continent after slavery, but it's also one of the earliest colonial projects of the British. And so very, very important to understand. When they came back now, there was some back and forth with the indigenous Timini people. Ultimately, their settlement was burnt to the ground. Only 50 survived. So in 1792, another group came, 1,200 from Nova Scotia. Most of them were called black loyalists and their families. Black loyalists were African people from the United States of America, formerly enslaved there, who joined the British side of the American Revolution. And when they joined the British side, even though they lost the war, Britain evacuated them. Britain evacuated up to like 36 to 4,000 of them over to Nova Scotia. They sent even more down to Kingston, but they re-enslaved the ones they sent to Jamaica, right? So the ones in Jamaica, they didn't get free. Some of them, like you got George Lely, for instance, they call him the first a missionary, right? He actually was evacuated from Savannah, Georgia, and ended up in Kingston, Jamaica, where he started a movement and a church that seeded Ethiopianism in Jamaica, right? But he was born in Virginia, and he ended up leaving from Savannah and ended up in Kingston. But there was also thousands of other Black Americans who ended up in Kingston, but were re-enslaved by their white loyalist masters.
Okay.
So we don't talk about this exchange where
Yes.
this many thousands of African American people were taken to Kingston after the American Revolution and re-enslaved there. We don't never talk about it, but it happened, right?
Okay.
And then so at the same time, the ones who went to Nova Scotia, they ended up rebelling because what happened was that the white loyalists was getting more support from the British Crown than what the black loyalists, the same black people who fought for freedom or whatever, right? And so they began a protest movement organized around their churches. One man named Thomas Peters led a protest that went all the way to London. He went to the government. He also went and talked to the board of directors for the Sierra Leone company.
Okay.
And they invited him and anybody else who would want to return to come and revive what became Freetown Colony. And so Freetown was born out of the second wave. The first wave settlement was burnt to the ground.
Okay.
The second wave established Freetown, and we still live in the same jurisdiction of Freetown established in 1792 right now today.
Wow.
In 1800, a group of Trelawney Maroons arrived here. They arrived here on British ships from Nova Scotia, where they were taken after they were captured in Jamaica after a rebellion. So all of this is happening in the 1790s at the same time as the Haitian Revolution. At the same time in 1794, you got the cotton gin happening.
Yeah.
So you got all these transformations, all these revolutions happening at one time in different ways. But you also have the birth of repatriation happening. And it's happening with formerly enslaved Africans from the United States, former Trelawney Maroons from Jamaica. And then the last group, the largest group, up to 150,000, were what they call liberated Africans or recaptures. They were Africans who were rescued from slave ships and brought to Freetown and assimilated into the Creole community. Some of them, they went back to where they was from. They went back to Nigeria and became the first educated people there, Western educated people there. Same thing with Ghana. Later on, they built the Foday College, which was the first Western university that was given degrees from Europe in this region during the slave period. So royal families, the Africans who were trading with the Europeans, they started sending their children to Freetown to get Western education instead of sending them to Europe. So they will come to Freetown and get the same Western education they can get in Europe, and they go back to their countries. And a lot of times, the same elite ruling class that we're looking at today was seated during this period. And so they call Foday College and Freetown itself the Athens of West Africa. That's the first pretext. Now, in 1972, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie visited Sierra Leone from January 16th to 19th. Yes, he was here. And some of our elders within this council were alive, and they laid eyes on His Imperial Majesty while he was here in Freetown. There was those who were influenced by the reggae, the culture, the music that spoke to the drama and pain of Sierra Leone. We speak Creole here, so Creole is very closely connected to Patois. You can hear it; it's interchangeable. And so we can hear Jamaican talk. We can hear the Patois. We can hear the language. And so because of the influence of the Trelawney Maroons within the Creole community and within the Creole language, we can hear each other in a large percent, right? So that's one thing. The language barrier is not there like that. We can hear Bob Marley. We can hear Bunny Wailer. We can hear them clearly.
Yes.
And so because of the music and having this history of Afro-Caribbean, Afro-American, Afro-West and Central African interconnection right here in Freetown, along with the native culture, you have an environment that's very conducive to struggle against, one, the British Empire. Two, also the struggle with the brothers and sisters in the Caribbeans. And so I believe that by watching what was happening in the 60s and 70s in Jamaica, it helped to make people in Sierra Leone self-identify as well, because we had political struggles here as well. So in 1971, 1972, Sierra Leone became a republic. Prior to that, it wasn't a republic. The Queen was still the head of state.
Yes.
So from 1961 to about 1972, they say Sierra Leone was independent, but the head of state was actually the Queen of England.
Queen of England.
And so in 1972, when Haile Selassie came, he came under the first president, Syker Stevens of the Republic. And so the country already had this sensation going on, is what I'm trying to say, of breaking away from the former colonizers in a political way. This is what the move towards republicanism was about, right?
Yes.
And so later on, around 1978, you have a one-party state that was created. This same Syker Stevens created a one-party state at the end of the day. He led a one-party state. And it was this one-party state that is one of the biggest provocations for the Civil War that happened in 1991 to 2002. The people were fighting in their eyes for their democratic rights to participate in deciding their own leaders and having their own political parties and things, because all other political parties have been banned since 1978. So from 1978 to 1991, it was a period of, I would say, revolutionary organizing in this country. In 1981, 1982, the Pan-African Union was created at Foday College, right? These young Pan-Africanists established African Liberation Day. Many of them also took on the Rastafari faith. So here in Sierra Leone, when you find a Pan-Africanist, you also find a Rastafari. Right? Most Pan-Africanists here also adhere to the Rastafari faith. Right?
Very interesting.
So when the war began in 1991, it kind of stopped the development of things, but it also created a whole new period. So eventually the war began, and the government that was in place, the one-party government, was overthrown by a group of young officers, including the current president, Julius Maada Bio. He was one of the young officers of the MPRC government that took power from the one-party state and ultimately brought multi-party governance back into play, right? And so these guys were young. We had one of the youngest political leaders or heads of state ever. He was like 25 years old, head of state.
Wow.
That's Valentine Straza. During this government, from my understanding, because I wasn't here, but from my understanding, from what I learned from my elders here, that at that time, the Rastafari movement and the youth movement was electrified by this new government because they see young people in power, just like we see in the AES right now with Traore. So the young people were excited about having these young military officers in power. And within that young government also made way for the Rastafari community to have some say in governance. And during that time, there was some functional collaborations, according to some of my elders, right? One of our elders, Ras Tafari, at this time, he went over to Ethiopia. He spent time in Shashamani. And right now, you have many different groups of Rastafari in Freetown alone. But the largest group, of course, is the 12 tribes. The largest mansion here is 12 tribes. But you do have Bobo Shanti and you do have Nyabingi. They're just not well-organized houses. You have temples. You have temples to service the community. We do have certain institutional strength that's there now. We have lands that we have available that we can farm on and produce whatever we would need on. Access to them at least communally as a group. And then we have like native homegrown mansions or outfits. We have the Wise Men of the East, which are they're 12 tribes, but they're like a subgroup that's specific to a certain area. Then we have so we have different groups. It's very vibrant here. But one beautiful thing about Rastafari in Sierra Leone is that it's organically grown from our own experience here. It doesn't come, it's not imported. Nobody brought it here and said, hey, this is the way you do it. The people here organically grew into their own way of adopting the faith and applying it. And so, we have our own Rastafari artists. We have our own reggae artists. Amara Kaba, the legend, right? We have leadership. We have people who are legendary leaders in our own culture here locally in Freetown. Like the late, great Father Elijah Gegra, the founder of this Rastafari Council of Sierra Leone, the founder of Culture Radio 104.5, and the founder of Nigos Nagas Complex. This brother devoted his whole life to the cause of Rastafari and Pan-Africanism. He's one of the brothers who was able to go out during the war. He could have escaped. He could have stayed away, but he had a burning desire to return and educate his people and rescue the country from backwardsness. So he came back. He came back and he built institutional power for the Rastafari community and respect for us as well. And so we have those figures. We have Secretary General Ras Culture. We also have our current president who has succeeded our late father Elijah, Ras Larry Morgan. We have elders, Ras Ore, Ras Zebulon, Ras Ngululu, Ras Danman, right? Ras Keita, right? So it's a very diverse community. I want to take the opportunity to say shout out to every Rastafari man and woman and child in the Lion Mountain, not only in Freetown, but countrywide. Yes, because we have the same struggles. You know, here, once you become Rastafari, you get outcasted. So you're looking for a community, you're looking for A-lights.
Yes.
And we've been building that for our people so that now when you choose the faith, you don't have to be homeless and isolated. You can come and you have family, you have friends, you have community that you can build with, you can build on. So it's just important to create an environment where we can bring more young people into the faith, especially right now, dealing with the current drug crisis in the country and whatnot. So right now we have Rastafarians.
What is the current drug crisis? What is the drug that's mashing up the place?
Yeah, man, they have a drug here they call Kush. Unfortunately, they call it Kush, and it is basically synthetic marijuana mixed with other chemicals, almost like K2, and then a more mixed than that. And some of them have been using abominable fluid as well. They've been digging up dead bodies and extracting the abominable fluid from those dead bodies and using it in the process of producing this weapon. We say drugs, but it's a weapon. It's destroying us.
Yes.
And so that would be the main drug. But then you also have the tramadol, right? Tramadol is something that's supposed to be regulated. You know, you're supposed to be prescribed tramadol, but not here. You can just buy it on the streets and just eat 10 of them if you want to. And they do it all the time just to have energy, just to move around. A whole pack of tramadol. And so you have pharmaceutical addiction. And I seen that come during Ebola. During Ebola, a lot of people was afraid to go to the hospitals because they were body snatching. Whether you had it or you didn't, if you had a certain temperature or certain, they would take you and put you into isolation with other people. So even if you didn't have it, you could get it because now they're going to put you with the people who got it.
Okay.
And so people were trying to avoid going to the hospital. A lot of our traditional healers died during Ebola. We don't talk about it, but a lot of the traditionalists died because people were afraid to go to hospitals. And we started to take tabs, started to take more pills than usual. And if you look, right after the Ebola crisis, there was this tramadol outbreak. All the young people, women, everybody was just using this tramadol. And it was directly connected to that. Who pumped Freetown with tramadol at that time? I don't know.
Hot. We're under attack as usual, as Black people. What I want to ask is there an elder that is credited as being like the pioneer or elders who are the first acknowledged Rastafari in Sierra Leone?
Well, there are. I believe that they had a group originally called the Garveyites. This is from the oral tradition that I've been able to pick up so far.
Yes. And what year are we talking about? What year are we talking about? Like the 70s?
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
Early 80s, mid 80s, yeah. Because the elders right now, they would have been in their teenage years and 20s at that time. And it really came as a young movement. So Some of the names of the people is like we have what is High Priest's name? High Priest I can't think of his last name right now. But the High Priest has been around from that time. Right now,
Okay.
Temba. His name is Temba.
Tamba.
High Priest
Okay.
Temba. He's been around from back then. We have brothers like Brother Dan Man. Dan Man might be like second generation because he talks about it as if he came in under the original ones.
Okay.
So they're all first generation, but I believe they were the youth of the first generation.
Okay.
Then you have those like Ras Ore. Ras Ore is also one of those original 12 tribes Ras Tafari men from the early 80s. Who?
I think he said, well, he told me to double shot.
Yeah, well, I believe it might be Bobo Shanti. I'll let him speak for himself when he has the opportunity to be here.
Yes,
But
yes.
but he's been a Rasta man for at least 4 or 5 decades. And these guys make up the originators, really. We have those like I said, Foday Elijah Gegra. He had a brother named Abdul. They say
Okay.
Abdul Gegra was one of the original Rastas. And then they have a younger brother. They have a younger brother by the name of Josie. We call him Marcus Garvey here. And he also is recognized as one of the early first Rastafari that was going hard. I mean, they was chasing these guys and chopped these guys' locks off. You know, they were throwing these guys in prison for little marijuana. Even to the day, they still suppressing that. So these are some of the names of the elders, of the originators that I would know. But I'm sure there's more than that.
Yes,
Originally, they have a place here called Brook Fields, and it's over near the stadium. And inside, they got a place behind there that they used to call, not sure what they called it, but it was the place where they used to organize as Garveyites. And from what I understand, it was from within that Garveyite network that the Rastafari community began to develop. The 12 tribes came out of that.
No, it's very important that we want to lift up those early pioneers, call their names so that they live on. And we're trying to give the global Rastafari family just an overstanding of the movement in its different iterations in the different places as it rises on the continent, so that we can break these barriers, because I'm of the opinion that local organization is necessary, but it needs global support. You know what I mean? It needs, because we're finding the same issues in all of our global communities in terms of lack of access to capital, lack of resources to actually do the work on the scale that it needs to be done. And I think we solve that problem by coming together and leveraging our numbers globally. Do you think they have more than 500 Rastafari in Sierra Leone?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that gave birth to the Rastafari Council, which we define as the administrative wing of the movement, that we do the work administratively to make sure the movement is represented, that we make the connections, and that we assist with social welfare, education, conflict resolution, and things like that as a council. But we're not a mansion. We're very, very clear that members of each mansion and those who don't have a mansion are all comprised within the council. And so I kind of went off track.
No, we're talking about the numbers, but you. We're talking about.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. So about a decade ago, maybe I'll say about 2017, the late great Foday Elijah Gegra, he initiated a campaign to petition the Sierra Leone government for the legalization of cannabis. And so in doing that, it became necessary for a council to exist. Something that would gather the people around this issue, educate them around this issue, and represent the people as well, the Rastafari community around this particular issue. And so I believe we have right now over 10,000. And I'm saying 10,000 because if Ras Culture was here, he would give you the exact amount. And I know for a fact that it's over 10,000 signatures on the petition already. The only thing that has
Okay.
held us up is that legally here, a citizen can't just walk into Parliament and put a petition on. It has to be a member of Parliament. And so we've been trying to get members of Parliament to take on the cause of legalization, and we failed so far. But we do have the petitioners, and if I'm not mistaken, it might actually be double what I'm saying, because the last time I heard you saying like 20, 25 signatures. 25,000. I mean, not
Wow,
hundreds.
wow.
So in terms of Ras Tafari, though, I would say that there is a strong nationwide. If we really counting all those who are out there with the faith, there's definitely more than 500 Rastas within the country. Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I hope I can get your strength to spread the Lion Voice Network so that they can see also that they're part of a bigger global movement, because I think that's really what we need our young people to see in Rastafari, that this is a global movement and they're not alone. And I know you would love that, Sister Kenya, as a media personality. Are there any media platforms in Sierra Leone that cater to the Rastafari community?
Yeah, absolutely. There's Culture Radio 104.5, which was established by the late ambassador, Foday Elijah.
Yes.
There's also other, I'll say, progressive media platforms, independent platforms that are popping up, but not completely committed to Rastafari, like how Lion Voice is there,
Yes.
But we do have radio, and we do have plans. We do plan to get into blogging more.
Yes.
We do have we have a full radio station. We have an FM radio station. And we have people who are trained, and we also have the ability to do a show there. So we do want to do like a Rastafari centered educational
Very
show
important,
on
yes.
Culture Radio. Yeah, that we can also blog on. So if we have the show, once a week, twice a week, we'll also be blogging at that same time, and we'll be able to have guests like yourself from international community.
Definitely.
Queen Mother Moses, Ras Abib, President Murray Powell. So we'll be able to get other significant individuals who are really doing this work. Really, really, really.
That's critical. That's critical.
Yeah, man. We wake up in the morning and our feet hit the ground to serve. Those kind of individuals.
Yes.
So in the future, I think there's some ways that we can collaborate around media. Actually,
No, definitely. I'm here for that. And it's critical because Africa has so many young people. We have to be constantly, reinforcing the message, giving them the right information, what I call counter programming. One of the things that we haven't done well as Pan-African community is counter program. We don't create a lot of content, around what we're doing. We have events, yes, that's great. But as the item know, the young people are online right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're on their phones, and we need to really be in those spaces with counter programming, counter content that's counteracting the low frequency, low vibration stuff that the system is feeding them, which is why we have these drug epidemics and these things, because they're being, they're fed that low frequency. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I see Sister Mary trying to get in. Her devices are not connected. I don't know if what kind of phone she has.
Yeah, she said she was having a problem. I think it's her internet.
Okay, because she's here in the backstage, but her devices, her camera and her mic are not connected. Her internet seemed like it's stable, but I don't know.
But
I would love to. Yeah.
We call her Empress Mary Grassroots. We call her Grassroots because she is beloved at the Grassroots by the Grassroots. She is one of the sister queens who have been able to travel around and go out, also build economic institutions to employ people. She's very, very, very deep into culture, and she's even been a counselor here. She's into politics. So she's beloved. She's a powerful queen. I hope she can come in, you know. But maybe you can talk a little bit about what she does with like her business and the creating of culture.
So Empress Mary Grassroots has a technical school that she teaches, I believe, like tailoring, maybe some catering, things of that sort, that teaches the local community how to do, like, create businesses for themselves. So she donated some items to our EWF, and we were able to fundraise at our Mali night. We just had an event May 11th to celebrate or commemorate by Marley Knight, as well as our late founder of the Ras Tafari Council, who was Father Elijah. So she did donate some items and assisted with us in fundraising all the way from America. So she has a school and she connected the students here with us. We were able to collaborate. So there's some dynamic things that she's still doing, even though she's in America. She's still working here.
Okay. Where in America is she now?
I believe
I believe she's in the DMV, I believe.
Are you serious?
I believe so.
Yes.
All right. So I'm in the DMV, so we're gonna have to maybe go visit her and record her live. You know what I mean? And just get her face to face. If she's here in the DMV, we'll talk offline about that.
She's dynamic. She's dynamic. Women in Sierra Leone are hustlers. They know how to make money. They know how to produce things that we need, and so they have that real industrious like activity among themselves.
Yes.
And Sister Mary Grassroots, she embodies that hustle. And we were talking about economic development and advancement earlier. You was talking about we have so much moves to make, but where's the money? We don't have the finances.
Exactly.
Right? And we can't be principled and say we need to do this for ourselves, but then go beg other people for help. We got to find out how we can do this for ourselves. And one of the ways is to assess the skill sets of the membership within these organizations, so that we can know in which way can we commercialize and package services and goods, right?
Exactly.
And then we be the primary consumers. We be the primary customers, right? So that the market is founded on us. And so I think the Sister Mary Grassroots is one of the kind of woman, the kind of Rasta woman that we have here in Sierra Leone. When you think about how we can collaborate between, let's say, where you are in the States, or where Queen Mother Moses is in the States, or in Jamaica, or wherever anybody is at, right? We're going to need to have partners, people who truly understand business, that have a certain character about themselves, a certain moral discipline about themselves, a certain respect about themselves, whereas the kind of business that we want to bring to Africa can truly, truly, truly happen. And so having people like Mary Grassroots, Empress Kenya, John Day, who was here earlier, having the sisters among us is very, very critical.
Crucial.
In Sierra Leone, anyway, very, very critical. There will be no council, no Ras Tafari, no Pan-Africanism without the women here. The women have been actively hands-on involved. They bring the children with them, and it's a communal experience here when we're talking about Ras Tafari. All generations are involved.
We want to help the IDEM to mobilize. So Lion Voice Network is an ally of what you all are doing here in Sierra Leone. And we want to help to mobilize the economics. That's why I said we want to see that water plan and some other proposals coming out of the council to see how we can support. You know what I mean? We want to see how we can send capital your way, so that, again, everybody who watches this platform know my two words are budget and staff. You know what I mean? We want to see how we can see your budgets, and then how we can staff, because we need full-time workers. We love the volunteer. We love volunteers. All of us are volunteers in some kind of capacity, but we have to have full-time operations. And we have to give these operations time to fail. You know what I mean? So if we have a budget you know we got the budget for the first year or 2 years fully, so that the person is going to get paid regardless of what the income of that business is. That person is still
Absolutely.
going to get paid, so that they have time to fail, time to kind of learn, time to stand up. And that's so important, because a lot of times, you know, we don't have that wherewithal. So when the business is not making money, then that person has to go out and hustle to
Yeah.
try to get their money. And then the business, of course, it's going to fail if you're not, you know,
You
putting
can't
the
focus
time
on
into the
it.
business. You can't
Yeah.
focus on the business. You know what I mean? So we have to give that opportunity. Big up Rasa Bib, as I say, one of our young shining stars with the $5 contribution. Big up Grassroots. It's Grassroots' birthday today.
Grassroots.
And today is not Africa Day. I mean, every day is Africa Day, Grassroots, but Africa Liberation Day is really May 25th. But we're having a big event here in the DMV. Later, I'm going to be leaving after this and going straight to that event with Ras Baba Senghor and Baba Mosi. But what I want to say is what we need now that we've made this link again is mapping that you talk about, you know, and this is across the board. We're doing this in Jamaica with the RMO. We're doing this, you know, even IDOR here. We're talking about starting the mapping, and I think all of our organizations, that step one is just assessing what are the human resources that you have. What are the businesses that are there? Instead of us trying to always start a new business or reinvent the wheel, let's look at what's already out there and how we can invest and scale some of these businesses.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I
Absolutely.
love that you're thinking like that strategically. You know what I mean? But what I want to know, we have a question from one of our Ubuntu Lion Pride members. Ras Super is asking, to the panel, how does Rastafari family on the continent, on the ground there, view the concept of repatriation? Is it something embraced, or is it something that, you know, like in Ghana right now, there's a lot of tension because the diaspora is coming in strong, but they're raising the prices of everything, you know, with this US dollar and the pound. And now the local Ghanaians, you know, first they were welcoming, but now there's a little tension because they can't, you know, young Ghanaians can't afford anything. So how do people in Sierra Leone on the ground view repatriation?
They'll tell you that Sierra Leoneans like strangers. That's what they would tell you. And it's true. It's true. They're very curious brothers and sisters here, man. They really are open-hearted, open-minded. And I say that, you know, genuinely. But at the same time, when it comes to repatriation and you're talking about Sierra Leone, you gotta remember this is the birthplace, and people know that. People learn their local and their national history, and they learn about these people who came from America and from Jamaica and from slave ships, right? They learn about this all across the country, and so there's already like a sense of awareness that people from outside of this country have come to this country and are right now a part of this country. Yes. So we know that there's a legacy of repatriation here, first and foremost. Now, as a repatriate, I've been here 13 years. I can tell you from my own experience that it's been challenging in some ways, but overall, the support that comes from the ordinary, average Sierra Leonean on a daily basis is so much more than what I ever imagined I would get. Just the normal support from day to day, right? People here are very supportive of each other. In America, you can walk around all day, every day, and not have a single person say hello to you.
That's
have
true.
a single person ask you how are you feeling, how the body, right? But here, everybody you meet, everybody you pass is going to ask you, how you doing, brother? You okay? How you feeling? Right? And so just having that reinforcement of humanity constantly here makes repatriation something that for me was welcoming. And then also in a real organizational sense, there's a movement here we call the Exodus movement. Foday Elijah, we keep bringing him up, of course, because we have to. He was really the ambassador for the movement here. They coordinated him. The Rastas came together and washed his feet and coordinated this brother, the ambassador, right?
Yes.
So we have to give him his props because most of the institutions that we're talking about, we have access to are institutions that he left behind. Not a whole bunch of other people, but this individual. And so he created the Exodus movement because he realized that as we return, it was going to be difficult for us. That we was going to need people who had also been out, but also was from, to be able to embrace us and walk us through the steps. So I think that Sierra Leone is conducive to repatriation. One, because of the history and the heritage. Two, because there is a consciousness about it in terms of assisting those who come. Some places you go, as soon as you arrive, you are an ATM machine. You are an NGO. You have to give money up just to be treated a certain way. We're not here. It's not like that here necessarily. People here will know how to measure your heart as well. And so you might want to come here and throw money around, but they're just going to measure your heart anyway. They're going to say, okay, he has money, but he's a jerk. You know? They're going to look at your heart and deal with you like that. It's not about money. And I think it's like that because of how poor the country is. The country is so poor that money is not the main indicator of value, right? It's how well you get along with people. It's how it's if you can. I've seen people here have the biggest funerals, and all they do is ride bike. But they were so kind and so nice and had so many friends and was in so many different clubs that when they pass away, it'd be a big procession. And then you see a big politician die, and it'd be a handful of people. And so that's what I mean. Just culturally, the people prefer to support genuine people, and so that's very important. Now, from 2019 to 2023, the current president and the current government conferred over 450 citizenships to Africans from the diaspora who had African ancestry DNA tests proving that they had some ancestral connection to the people of Sierra Leone. They gave 450. Now, you can't really compare Sierra Leone to Ghana in terms of travel and repatriation. Right now, we might get 100,000 visitors per year, but Ghana gets 150,000 per month. And so some of the economic strain that the Ghanaians are feeling, we're not feeling that here. We're not feeling like we want to chase the diaspora away here. We're feeling like more need to come, and we need to learn from whatever right or wrong is being done in Ghana, and try to do something better here. And so those people who are repatriation centered are focusing on what's happening in Ghana, but we know that in Sierra Leone we have a different national situation. Most of the people coming back here have a heritage connection. They're not just saying, oh, I want to go to Sierra Leone just because we have a heritage connection that we're choosing to come here. And the country also is recognizing that heritage and doing the right thing by issuing citizenships and also making even things like residency and investment, a more easier pathway for us. They realize that the diaspora has an interest here. The 6th region has an interest here, and we're here knocking on the doors to see how best we can collaborate.
We have a very, let me just say that first and foremost, the Lion Voice Network comment section is the best comment section on the internet. We have all type of people in our comment section. It's not a yes man factory. We get hard questions, we get nice questions, and this brother here has put a statement in here I want you to address. And he says that Johnny, native people in Sierra Leone and Liberia were slave traders. So get to the roots of your misinformation. They didn't want to see the people they enslaved return. This is a very controversial statement. What does he mean by this? Talk to me, explain, because I need some clarity from your perspective.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we know that. We understand that there were collaborators here, that slavery happened here. You have one of the main slave fortresses in Upper Guinea along the Rice Coast right here called Bunce
Yes.
Island. You have others
Okay.
like Shabo Island, Tasso Island, other islands off the coast that the Europeans used as fortresses in order to carry out the slave trade. And what I'll say is this. Yes, you have those who were actively involved in the transatlantic slave trade of our people. But you also have those who actively resisted.
Resisted,
And
yes.
you have, but we don't tell those stories. We only talk about those few. That's like telling the story only of the drug dealers in the hood. You don't tell the
Yes.
success stories. You don't talk about the people who become barbers, open a barber shop. You don't talk about the
No.
people who avoid the streets and
Yes.
go to school and come back to the community as teachers. You don't tell the success stories. You just focus on the fact that some people were actively engaged in slave trade. Now, what I learned about the slave trade in my studies is that in the mid 1400s, the Pope Nicholas V declared
Yes.
war on Africa and African people, and that war took on many, many, many different waves and expressions all the way up until now. This war of
Yes.
discovery, this age of discovery, is the foundation for everything we're living in now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that there was a war. Father Elijah used to say that there was no slave trade. There was an invasion of Africa. That if we can't talk about the slave trade without pretexting it with the invasion. That who invited these navigators to our shores?
Yes.
And how did they truly conduct themselves when they were here if they are the only ones who have a written record? Right? And so we can't just believe what was written by them. We have to also understand that the basis, the context for African people engaging in that, many times it was communities that were already being attacked and were being held hostage in exchange for people that they would bring. And we don't truly understand it. But one of the things that they did as well was they immediately pulled the mulatto factor in West Africa. Here you have certain ethnic groups and certain families that are mixed race, and they also was heavily engaged in the slave trade. But we never talk about the mixed race slave traders. We never talk about the middlemen, right? They were here. They were mercenaries, missionaries, and traders. That's what they were, merchants. And so when you examine the slave trade up close, you realize that there were other players there that we don't necessarily always recognize. And then also, yes, shame and hell to any African who truly participated in the demise of other Africans, even till this day.
Yes.
But we also got to know that if the European doesn't come here and attack Africa, there is no transatlantic slave trade. Africa was assaulted first before any exchange happened. And
Yes.
we say trade, but that's reducing our ancestors to commodities.
Exactly.
Right?
It was kidnapping.
So
kidnapping.
we weren't traded, we were trafficked. We were trafficked. We were scientists, we were scholars, we were fishers, we were hunters, we were agriculturalists, we were men, women, children, husbands, wives, fathers, mothers. We weren't slaves or commodities to be traded. We were African people, and we still are. And so when we correct the identity of those who were stolen away, then we can get down to who sold who. How can you sell a prisoner of war? If it was war, and these people are prisoners of war, when did they become commodities? Trade items. These are
Yes.
prisoners of war.
Yes,
Wars
I.
that was stimulated as a consequence of Europe's invasion of West Africa. When you look at 1591, when the Moroccans invaded Songhai Empire, they occupied Timbuktu, they occupied Jenny. They also
Yes.
attacked the remnants of the Mali Empire.
Yes.
And they couldn't hold it because the resistance was too heavy. But
Yes.
what they did manage to do was shut down the trans-Saharan trade. The trans-Saharan trade route had gone for thousands of years prior to that. So
Yes.
now the people in the Sahel and the Sahara region, we don't have an outlet for our trade. So guess where everyone is running to trade now? The coast.
Mm-hmm.
Trade had never gone to the coast until the European got there. And
Yes.
so not only did they shut down our northern trade, but they also gave us no other option but to trade westward. And that caused a population shift, that caused migration, that caused wars over land. People who had different languages didn't view each other as the same people. So it wasn't Africans enslaving Africans. A lot of times this was African people from different kingdoms who were both in refuge and contesting over land, contesting over power.
And the Arabs and the Europeans took advantage of these situations.
Absolutely, because if we're being honest about it, right? In 1235, when Sundiata Keita established the Mali Empire, they held a big conference. They held a big convention. At that convention, they established what they called the Mandang Charter or the Mandang Kuru Faba, and in it was like the UN Charter almost, but for the Mali Empire, right? The rights, how things are supposed to go, and everything like that, right? And one of them was the abolishing of slavery. The abolishing of slavery. If slavery didn't exist all the way back in 1235, then there wouldn't have been no need to abolish it.
Yes.
So when we talk about slavery in West Africa, we have to know that we're talking about different forms. We're talking about different types, different times. Right now, if a person in America is found guilty of a crime, they can be enslaved, or they can be temporarily locked up and lose all of their human rights, basic civil rights, and they have to also perform labor while they're incarcerated, or they won't get out.
Correct. That's correct.
So what is the difference? It's a different form of the same slavery, right? So if slavery is viewed as a captivity, form of a punishment of a crime or captivity during a war, then we need to really say that and stop feeding into the white supremacist narrative of our ancestors being commodities that could just easily be sold like so. When you see the amount of resistance from capture to the fortresses, to the slave ships, to the plantations, you realize that we never were enslaved, that they attempted to enslave us, but they never truly enslaved all of us. And so they failed in that department. It's just like if you are attempting to put me under arrest and I am resisting and you have failed to put me under arrest, you cannot say that I'm under arrest. You can say you attempted to put me under arrest and I resisted. And that's the only thing the European can say. It's the only thing the Yoruba can say about African people. In reality, we give them a victory that they haven't fought for. They didn't beat us yet.
Yes, and this is why the Lions have to tell our own story, because we're relying on their textbooks, their narration, and the famous proverb says, "Until the lion tell his own story, the hunt will always glorify the hunter." So it's very important. I want to go to the eye, Sister Kenya, in terms of the role of the. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to the conversation about the slavery that occurred here on the coast in Liberia, Sierra Leone, as well as different other coasts. We have these slave fortresses all over the region, right?
Yes.
And we have to think about how complex this system had to be in order for our people to get from one place to another. You don't think about the taxes that people paid to the communities that they had to transport our people on foot all the way to the coast for miles and miles and miles away. So
it was a system.
It was a whole system. So you have to understand how complex it was. And we didn't look at ourselves as brothers and sisters. We looked at ourselves as people that was being refuged and trying to find land. So that's another aspect of it. And then you have to think that he was talking about how the people, there was slave trading. However, we came back. There were people that actually allowed us to come back and settle. So you have to understand that part. It wasn't like we came and subdued the people and came and repatriated here to Sierra Leone and Liberia. There was talks and other people that were in kings that knew the history of their people and knew their people went out as well and knew we also had a right to come back. So you have to put that into context as well.
Especially here you had King Jimmy. You had King Jimmy, you had King Tom, King Nangbana, right? King Nangbana was the king when the first group came back here from London. And when he signed the treaty.
Yes.
There's a black man named Richard Weaver. He was actually from Philadelphia.
Yes.
And he signed the treaty. They actually were signing agreements and the British was paying them for the land 3 times. 3 times in Freetown. They paid 3 different kings.
A short period of time.
And so it wasn't like they was bringing Africans back and saying, go conquer and take over the native people's land. It wasn't like that. Even in Liberia, one of the issues in Liberia and in Freetown was that the people were still actively involved in slave trading when we returned.
Okay.
And they didn't want the abolition movement to spread. But we found abolitionists, allies among the indigenous people. You have Botswana in Liberia, a Mandingo king. He came down to the coast to sit the Bassa, the Vai, the Gola, to sit them down and explain to them, hey, these people are our people. These are the same people we've been sending out. They got a right to come back. And like I said, in Freetown case, you had Freetown was exchanged 3 different times, 3 different treaties, 3 different kings.
Okay.
So we have to understand the details of these things. When they brought our ancestors back and they spoke with these indigenous people identified us as them returning. They didn't say, oh, these are some other people. No, they knew because they were the ones actively involved in the slavery.
Okay. What's the link with, go ahead. Go ahead, Sister Kenya.
Freetown used to be called Ramaram. They said it translated into the crying place. People used to travel all the way to Freetown from different countries because they knew how prevalent the slave trade, quote unquote, was
here, particularly.
So it has the history of people going out. They even named it the crying place.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. What's the link between Sierra Leone and Liberia? We always hear them mentioned together. What is that history between Sierra Leone and Liberia?
Sierra Leone and Liberia is only divided by a colonial border. The people are typically the same. If you go check, they have 3 language families within the 2 countries. You have what you call the Atlantic language, or the Sapi. Then you have the Manding language, which like the Mandingos, the Mendes, the Vais, the Kono, all these different groups have it. In Nigeria, you have the Bandi. You got different groups that are also Manding speakers. The Manding speakers come from the Mali Empire. They're people who migrated westward after, during the slave trade, right? A lot of them got caught up and took it over to America and became the Gullah Geechee people. I'm a Gullah, right? So Liberia is south of Sierra Leone, but it's adjacent. And to break it down to you so you really can understand, Sierra Leone was established from Freetown, and then later on it was colonized and the protectorate was established over the rest of the land. But Liberia was first settled by Africans from the diaspora. The first settlement took place in 1822. But for us now, it was 1787 in Freetown. So Freetown happened before Liberia. And Freetown is the foundation for what happened with Liberia. Later on, in the early 1800s, 1810s, you had 2 migrations that took place. You had one that was led by a man named Daniel Coker. He was a missionary. He was from Maryland, I believe, and he was an A&E missionary. He came back with a group of his followers to Sierra Leone. No white man helped them, independent, they got themselves over here. Secondly, there was Paul Kufi. Paul Kufi, who was he was a millionaire back then. He had a lot of money back in the early 1800s. And he also was into shipping. So he had his own shipping company. He had his own ships. And he brought an independent group of Africans from the United States to Freetown. So because they did this, it gave the ideal to the white abolitionists as well as to the white slave owners who was afraid of this growing population of freedmen. The ideal of doing the same thing that they seen the British do with the Nova Scotian population when they became hostile, and saying, well, damn, why can't we do the same thing the British did as well? So the first group of people that came over here to establish Liberia, they came first to Freetown. They first came to Sierra Leone. They were here for 2 years before they ever went south and established Providence Island, Monrovia, right? So they came from America to here first, and then took people from here down
that was
with
with
them
the American
to establish
Colonization
Liberia.
Society. That was with the American Colonization Society.
Yes, yes. So the American Colonization Society, they didn't just leave America and pull up in Liberia. They left America and spent 2 years in here and down on Chaparral Island for 2 years, learning and building their team, building their crew before they went down to what was then Providence Island, and today is Monrovia, which is where their first settlement was established. And so there's a direct connection between the original settlement of Creoles or people here in Sierra Leone, and then the later establishment of Liberia, because when they came, they had to be taken care of here first, right? And so a lot of the people in Liberia and Sierra Leone are relatives. They have a lot of family connections between the two. Also, these two countries are the only two Anglophone countries in this subregion. Most of them are French. You have French, Portuguese, then you have Liberia and Sierra Leone side by side. So in West Africa, the only place where you have neighboring English-speaking countries is here. Gambia is surrounded by Portuguese-speaking and French-speaking. Ghana is surrounded by French-speaking. Nigeria is also surrounded by French and French-speaking. So the only two countries in West Africa that are English-speaking that are neighboring is Liberia and Sierra Leone. And Liberia became a republic in 1847. So 25 years of settlement, they broke free from the ACS and declared their settlements a republic now. So they created a republic out of the colonies that was separate from the American Colonization Society.
Okay.
They start electing their own presidents. They created a republic, the first republic on the continent of Africa, right? And so these are the things we got to understand. Sierra Leone is a country. Freetown is a capital city. But Freetown used to be, when you say Sierra Leone, you was only talking about Freetown. You was only talking about Freetown. The rest of the country was provinces, hinterlands. They didn't consider it when they said Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone meant this coastal area, right?
Okay.
The mountains, the mountainous peninsula, right? And so that's important to understand as well. They're basically the same countries. You have Kru people here. You have Kru people in Liberia. You have Vai people here. You got Vai people in Liberia. You got Mendes here. Mendes there. You have Timides here. You have Timides there. Gola people here and there, right? And so a lot of the ethnic groups are interrelated between Liberia and Sierra Leone, and then also with Guinea. So what you have here is you have 4 states are controlled under one subregion called the Mono River Union, MANO, Mono River Union. So Mono River is one of the natural barriers between Sierra Leone and Liberia. On one side, you're in Liberia. On the other side, you're in Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone,
and yeah, back in the 1970s, the presidents of these countries decided that they want to have their own bilateral relationship because we're more like twin siblings than 2 different countries. Right. And so they created the Mono River Union. Later, Guinea and Ivory Coast joined that union. And so that's the sub-union in this region. Like you talk about the AES, here you got the Mono River Union. It's not
Okay.
ECOWAS, it's under ECOWAS. Right?
Okay. We have another statement / question. Eden Yi Selassie says many captives sold at Freetown came from the wars between the Timini, the Mende, the Limba kingdoms in the interior.
Rastafari.
Chiefs captured rivals and sold them to European ships. In Rasta reasoning in Sierra Leone, who bears more responsibility, the European buyer or the African seller who knew the destination was changed? How is that taught to the youth?
Yeah. So the responsibility is both ways, you know. But we understand that in the case of the African, maybe an individual ruler or individual warlord, someone that you would throw in prison, right? That's kidnapping people, kidnapping men, women, and children, burning villages down, right? A criminal. Not some, you know, this was criminal activity in anybody's legal or moral system, right? These were vagabonds. These were people who were operating against even the norms of society here. These were criminalized people that was involved in this. And we don't let them off the hook, but we also realize that what did they gain? Permanently long-term, what did they gain versus what the European gained? And we know about supply and demand. If there's no one there to buy the captives, then there is no captives to be sold. And you know, it's a very complicated question, but we do have to say the African people, our brothers and sisters, our ancestors who actually involved themselves in this trade, I don't believe they had as much knowledge about what was going to happen to those captives as the European did. We had a tradition of exchanging captives for goods already. And that's an ancient practice to say, okay, these people are our enemies. We need to get them out of here, sell them to a neighboring ally, and get some goods that you need in your kingdom for them. That is something that we have to look at and see that the whole world had this war captive policy. It is not just the West Africans who are Mende, Timni, and Limba. It is not just them. We have to be critical, but we also have to be historical specific, right? And so, yeah, I think that it is a total absolute crime for any African to consciously involve in the slave trade. And, you know, if that's what you call it, the human trafficking of African people.
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
I think you had the perfect analogy, and I use the same analogy with the drug dealers in our community, because the drug dealers also are getting the drugs from outsiders. They're trafficking it to their community, destroying their community for their own personal gain. And you're so right. You know, when we talk about neighborhoods, you know, a lot of time we talk about the criminal kingpins of those neighborhoods, and we glorify that story of these criminal kingpins, and we don't talk about all, you know, that was just a small minority. Even in the heart of the crack epidemic, you know, that might have been 5% of the community that was engaged in that type of criminality. But our whole narrative around our communities revolve around these sellouts. Because I always say the drug dealer is a sellout, is a definition of a sellout. The same way that these African rulers who were trading with the Europeans, regardless of what they thought, were sellouts, because they were getting paid, they were getting personal gain for selling out their brothers. And you're right, they didn't look at other kingdoms as their brothers. They looked at them as rivals, you know, because we didn't have that concept of race on the continent in that same way that it's, you know, race is a modern construct. You know, we were the Limba people. We were the you know, the Mende people. We were the, you know, the kingdoms. We weren't looking at each other like Pan-African or brethren in that kind of sense. You know what I mean? So it's disingenuous, you know, for the white supremacists to kind of use that Africans selling Africans and they should be blamed, when they were the ones who set up the system created the demand and who ultimately benefited. You know, you
Absolutely.
can't blame the pawns. You can't blame the pawns in the system for the system. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that's something that we need to really emphasize to the young people. So not taking away the responsibility from those who participated in the trade, as you say, but acknowledging that shifting the blame to Africans is a very weak heart conception, and is really, you know, it's a deflection. And it's like what's happening in South Africa right now, you know, where we're blaming the immigrants who are coming into South Africa to work because of the neo-colonialist policies in their own countries, force them to leave their countries and look for opportunities. And then we're not looking at the people who own 80% of the arable land, who control 80% of the economy, who are sitting there running things, and all of our anger is directed toward these immigrants. You know what I mean? And the criminality of the immigrants. While criminality is wrong, and we have to burn out criminality, of course, but why are so many people turning to crime? Because they don't have the means to feed their families. You know, what are the conditions that are, you know what I mean?
Why?
Go ahead, Sister Kenya.
I was saying, why are we in these conditions to begin with? So you set the climate for it for you to do whatever you want to do. So why are people fighting for trade with the European? How did you even get here? They scope, once you understand the Gamza verses, how they scoped out the place for 50, 100 years, they got written accounts talking about how we didn't steal nothing, how we were so moral, and how they could colonize us. They had a whole plan behind us. And so they played us against ourselves, and they continue to do it. And I don't really blame us in totality. I understand how the board was set. I understand how they actually attended. Do we know that the warlords or people here that was enslaving their brothers and sisters sending them out knew that we were going to be internally enslaved in America or in the West? That we would not be how they'll have a person working for 3 years, 5 years, and become a part of the community, be free, marry. Do they know? Did they have that concept or no? We have to put these things in perspective as well.
Yeah, we not only that, but like I said, we're talking about warfare. We're not talking about slave trade. We're talking about warfare here, right? We got to be honest about what we're talking about. We're talking about the collapse of the Mali Empire and the body and the population of Mali falling onto coastal Guinea and falling onto coastal Liberia and Sierra Leone, and creating new ethnic groups and creating new communities. In that process, a lot of rivalries, a lot of fighting going on. So imagine you have people who already lived at the coast in Sierra Leone before the European gets here. But at that time, there's no people from the Mali Empire that's living at the coast. But there's people living here, but they're not speaking the language of Mali Empire. They're speaking a coastal language, a completely different language. And they're living in small communities. They don't live in a big state. They don't have a military. They don't have a one king. They're living in decentralized communities, largely fishing, planting rice, agriculture, very, very peaceful people. They're not really able to defend themselves for anything because they're not very centrally organized, right? Very diversity of people. Certain things you can get at the coast that was of great value in the interior. Salt, for instance. Salt production took place on the coast. In the rainforest, you had cola nuts. These was currency in the Mali Empire. They was worth more than gold some places, right? And so there was things that was here that had great value already in the African marketplace, right? Before the European ever got here. And that trade used to go inland to Mali. But when the Europeans showed up, the Europeans started monopolizing those trade markets and taking those goods outside of Africa. So it made people move themselves from interior to closer to the resources, so they can contest for the resources that were obviously being sold out by the coastal people to the Europeans now, and not coming to the Malians. So there's a lot of things that took place that were highly sophisticated political and trade crises. It wasn't just people just grabbing people and us just being savage. It was warfare. right? Warfare. Mali had 250 warriors.
1,000.
There wasn't no army in Africa that could face the Malian warriors.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
so when they came to somewhere like Gola Rainforest, and they gave you a piece of clothes or a sword, and you chose the sword, that meant you was choosing genocide. You was choosing to have you and all your people slaughtered, right? And so they had real serious war here, and the Europeans backed the people at the coast who had the land originally against the people who was coming. So there was warfare made out against the people who was coming from Mali, and that's why right now you're taking DNA tests, and the majority of people are coming back to Sierra Leone, and they're having Mende and Timni ancestry. The Mende and the Timni were traditional ops, traditional rivals.
Yes.
Right. Even now, if we want to be honest, behind the political shenanigans in the country is the same northern, southern Timni versus Mende rivalry. This is something that was created and stimulated by Europeans.
Thank you.
When you understand it. And so the difference between them is that they have two different languages. But when you check the DNA, they're the same people.
Yep.
Right?
DNA.
And so the European identified African people based on observable characteristics to distinguish us. Language, how we dressed, what colors we dyed our items in, right? Whether we were Muslim, or whether we was traditionalists, right? If we had the scars on the side of our eyes or the ones behind our neck, they was very observant so they can determine who not to put together.
Yes.
Yes.
So they had to observe the differences so they could practice top security for themselves. And so in doing that, they begin to categorize and name, oh, we're going to call these people divide. Or we're going to call these the Timothy. Or we're going to call these this and call these that. And later on, they came during colonialism and they entered treaties, agreements with every paramount chief that was existing at that time. And most of them were war chiefs. They had got power by war. Even if it was inherited, it came down from a warrior ancestor who gave it to them.
Yes.
So this was war. This was, they don't say, oh, our family came over here to trade. No, they was mixing, they was fighting. And that warfare was the captives. What would make you enter someone's village, burn it to the ground, take everyone captive? What would make you do that? But warfare. That's not trade.
That's not trade. No. And I give thanks for that context. We are nearing the end. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get everybody in through the Wi-Fi, but this has been a riveting and very Chief Foday, let me just congratulate you and your queen. The historical recall and the knowledge of the Foday family, is impressive. I'm here like a student just listening and getting all of the information. Big up all of the people in the chat. Whoever saw this live, you really witnessed something very powerful. And this is something that we really have to contend with across West Africa. These topics that we're talking about, we've never had that reasoning as a collective, you know what I mean? In terms of the diaspora and our people at home, having this conversation about all of these propaganda that we were fed, and really having an understanding of what our ancestors went through. Now that we're returning, the time has come for us to have this conversation and to give ourselves grace as well. There has to be redemption if we're going to make repatriation work. We can't hold grudges forever on either side. And I see that there is efforts underway. I think that Sierra Leone should hire the I family as PR. I think them are the best PR that Sierra Leone could have, because Sierra Leone is losing that PR battle to Ghana. And I don't mind a little competition on the West African states. I think they need to have a little friendly competition in terms of attracting the diaspora and the diaspora dollar to their shores, because But the way that you broke down Sierra Leone as the birthplace of repatriation, they need to be jumping on that, that tagline, and they need to be really pushed. Because remember, Ghana didn't have all of this until they came with the year of return. You know what I mean? Ghana was just doing, that was a PR, and I know one of the brethren who was part of that initial push. You know what I mean? So I saw that manifest before it became public. I knew about it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And when I saw it manifest, I think they made over $1 billion in 2019 US.
Yeah, man.
From that one PR campaign. So Sierra Leone needs something like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first repatriation. What was the date of that first visit?
1787, 1792, Freetown was established, but the first repatriation happened in 1787.
So next year is going to be a milestone year. 2027. They should have some kind of, or maybe you need a little bit more time, but you need to approach the Sierra Leone government with a proposal, the Rastafari community with a proposal, because they need help. You know what I mean? They need some help to increase that number. I'm sure that they could increase that number with a focused campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of, and they might be open to that now, looking at what Ghana has done, with their campaign.
Actually, Ras, last year, the Sierra Leone government, through the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, they initiated a culture exchange project with Jamaica. They initiated what they call the One Nation Reggae Festival. And it was beautiful, brother. Sizzler came through. Queen Ifrica came through. Christopher Martin was here. Who else? Jay Bless. Ja Bless. Ja Thunder, right? A whole bunch of Caribbean Rastafari reggae artists came here. And the government came to the Rastafari Council. They wanted us to play a role in hosting the family from the Caribbeans. And we did. We were able to meet the likes of Mama G, the likes of Queen, what's her name? Jackie from the Scotts Hall Maroons. So we've been making these relationships, and actually it was the One Nation Reggae Festival that brought the Rastafari Council Sierra Leone finally to the unification with the likes of Queen Mother Moses. Ras Abib played a very, very key role as well. We were able to collaborate even during that time to make sure that we played our collective role as Rastafari. Not only those on the ground, but with Queen Mother Moses and Ras Abib and others, we were able to start the global run, And so the first global run happened because of this One Nation Reggae Festival. And we wanted to make sure that the Rastafari community demonstrated unity, global unity, and solidarity on that day under the leadership of Empress Queen Mother Moses. We did that. Later on, we rallied the 25 Rastas, the 25 Pan-Africanists, to make up the amount of people we needed to charter EWF local. So now we have an EWF local, right? And for the first time, January 16th, we was able to commemorate the coming of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I to Sierra Leone historically, and we marked that as probably the beginning of Rastafari here in this country, because before that, we really can't put our eyes on where it was at,
Talk to us about Global Run and that One Reggae concert and the impact. What has been the impact in the country? You touched on it, but talk some more.
Well, the impact of the One Nation Reggae Festival in Sierra Leone has helped to legitimize Rastafari. It has helped to also put reggae music into perspective, because we love reggae here. We love old school culture reggae here, right? And so it was good to see a lot of young people exposed to the culture in that kind of way. It was a hit. It was a hit for this country. And then even there was a follow-up visit to Jamaica, and then there's another tour coming in November. So they're doing it again in November. It might be different artists. I think they're talking about Burning Spear. We want to see the Marleys. People are asking for different artists, but this relationship is open. And every year, as of right now, we're going to have this engagement with our Caribbean brothers and sisters in Freetown, and vice versa. We have artists that we need to take over to the Caribbeans. We got a lot of making up to do, a lot of time making, because we are cousins, we are relatives. And now that we have even the government opening up this kind of lane, those of us who are serious organizers really need to click up and know what to do. And that's what happened with the global run. Queen Mother Empress, she's so wide traveled and well knowledgeable about Ras Tafari and Pan-Africanism that she's seen it as a perfect opportunity to use technology to unify Ras Tafari on the Pan-African unity mission. And that was genius. It has worked right now. We've been able to have different communities of Rastafari around the world host these different global runs. South Africa, I believe Malawi one time, us here in Sierra Leone. So it's beautiful. In Ethiopia, it's beautiful for us to pass the torch around to each other, like the microphone, so everybody can introduce themselves and say, hey, this is the Lion Mountain Rastas. This is our leaders and this is our history. And then the South African brothers and sisters can say, hey, this is us and this is our history and our knowledge. And we can begin that information exchange that's necessary for us to go about some better political power and economic development, because that is the whole purpose. We're not just here on some feel-good sensationalism. Some people view Rastafari and even Pan-Africanism as a feeling, as a subjective thing. But we want to materialize Pan-Africanism in this world, and we believe that Rastafari has the moral compass, has the spiritual foundation for African people, regardless of our walks of life, to re-enter an African way of life, to re-enter an African-centered way of life where sovereignty, the sovereignty of African people, is the foundation that we're building on. Ja Rastafari. You understand?
Thanks for that sound. I'm going to ask Sister Kenya, just give us your final sound to the global Rastafari family. This was an amazing reasoning. As I say, I can't have enough gratitude for the item. Give us your final sound, Sister Kenya, and then I'll ask Chief Foday to seal us up with his final sound.
So I just want to just piggyback up what you said about this, what is it, One Nation Reggae Festival actually reintroduce the Rastafarian community here to the general community here. As I was walking around with different guests, and we'll be together because we were like walking and going to events. And every time a group of people will see us, they'll ask me, "Are they from Jamaica?" Just because of how they look, they thought the local Rastas were from Jamaica. It's so funny to me, but it kind of like opened their eyes to like, okay, wow, this is the Rastas. So I appreciate that. I'm grateful for the global run. We had a chance to host a sister, Black American I'm not sure, but we Queen Empress Queen Mother Moses actually sent her here for a delegate here. So she was here, observed, was able to do some media coverage and things of that sort. So I do appreciate that as well. So we're going to be running it back this upcoming November. We're going to have some guests. Anybody that's interested in joining, we have about 6 months away. 5-6 months away. Let us know. It's going to be a 5-day turnout for everything. Last year it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's going to be the same. So we're looking to host some people as well. We have people reaching out to us, and we also do tourism. We do have a tour company.
Yes, speak on it.
So we do host tours. We've been in tourism for over 10 years. Relocation services. project management. If you have a business you want to register, we can assist you with that. So those services. But we do have an upcoming tour coming up in November, and then we have another tour coming up in December.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to have a tour at the time of the One Nation Reggae Festival. So those who would like to be here during that time can come through. Very, very important. So you want me just to go ahead and wrap up right now, brother?
Yeah, go ahead and give your final song. And how many people attended the first concert, if you had to estimate?
I would say about 20,000. I say about 20,000. It was just a concert. See, they had a week of events. They did historical tours. They did media events. They did entertainment events. So they did a whole series of. It was like a homecoming. And then at the end we did the concert. And so the concert was, I'll say at least 20,000 people were there. Just off of my eye, it was packed, completely packed. And you know, like I said, since I got here, the vibe, just the way Sierra Leone Freetown looks, it looks like Jamaica. It feels like the yard, you know? So it's like people here already strongly identify with the culture, right? And so to see Jamaicans come and us build like this, and to see that now we're able to continue to do it every year, it's just a great opportunity for those of us who are the builders to build on. So yeah, we do have a tour coming up this year during that time. Now, in my last words, I just wanted to really do some shout outs to those out there who are making it possible for the Rastafari community to develop itself right now, currently. Also, I want to just give a special memory to the late great Fire Council. We miss him. We miss him. This was a very well balanced Rasta man. He had traveled around the world. He had a very good understanding of Black consciousness. He wasn't the kind of Rasta that didn't understand that we have to have a Black consciousness. You know, he was very clear on that and very active in Pan-Africanism. Shout out to him. Without him, I don't think a lot of this stuff will be happening. And also, no man is an island. No man, you know, survives on his own. It's also those of us who work with the man as well to bring the dream and the vision to fruition. So definitely shout out to Ras Culture, you know, Mohammed Bangura. Shout out to Larry Morgan, our current president for the Rastafari Council, Sierra Leone. Also our elders, you know, Ras Ore, Ras Keita. I can keep going on many others. Even those brothers out there and those sisters out there who aren't necessarily a part of the council right now in terms of active, we know that every Rasta is a part of the council. That the council is a part of every Rastafari, right? Because what are we if we're not serving everybody, right? And so shout out to everybody. Ross Cross, the brothers over there at the temple, either one of them, the Marcus Garvey Academy for the schools, for the children. Shout out to the Pan-African Union, as well as our Pan-African Coalition comrades who we just organized African Liberation Day with. Pan-Africanism and Rastafari is alive and vibrant in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Do we need support? Absolutely. Who doesn't need support? But is that stopping us from doing all that we can do regardless? It is not stopping us from doing all that we can do regardless. We believe that our unity is enough, and then anything else is a blessing. Our unity is enough, and then anything else is the blessing. And so we focus on the building the practical unity. You as well, Ross, for allowing us to bless the platform, to be here, to represent the Sierra Leonean vibe. You know, we here, and it's not just native-born Sierra Leoneans. There's a repatriation movement going on in Sierra Leone as well. It's not just Ghana. There's people coming here. Mm-hmm. Families are coming here. Dozens of families are coming here. And we have played a very critical role in assisting families in making those as consultants, as tour service operators or providers, and more. Yeah. So we're going to continue to do our work, and we want to make an open invitation to the whole African community, Ras Tafari, Pan-African, whatever. If you're out there, you're coming home to Sierra Leone, to reach out to us, and you know, let's make sure that we can host you and welcome you on, you know, on the Lion Mountain in a proper fashion, in which is, you know, respectable and up to the standard of what we're supposed to uphold. This is about claiming our royalty, you know, living in our true selves and getting back to our true greatness. So we're open to all unification. There's a lot of programs we can do economically. We have to figure out the logistics of import export. We have to figure out what it is that you need in the DMV. You know, how much could you sell a gallon of palm oil for? There, right? A gallon of honey for there. You know, we have Madoni here. We have the raw butter for shea butter. Do you need it? We can try to get it to you. They make black soap. Clothes. We have some of the best tailors in Africa. In Freetown. Right? And so we're talking about even getting jiggy with it, you know? And that's what it's really about. When we can feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, educate ourselves, house ourselves, then we already have the majority of liberation figured out. Liberation is a state of beingness. We'll be liberated when we can do these things for ourselves. And so I really appreciate the platform, brother. I want to inspire you to continue to do what you're doing, Ras Kwazi. We need these outlets. We need these outlets. And we also need to pay utmost respect to our predecessors, our ancestors, our parents, and those elders that we still have with us. I would like to organize to have some of the elders on this platform. They don't necessarily have the technological know-how, but if I can get Ross Ore or Ross Keita to this house and they can sit down, you will get the wealth of knowledge.
Let's make it happen.
To the history of
Let's
Ras
make it happen.
Tafari.
Let's make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen, man.
I want to shout out your Wi-Fi today too. Your Wi-Fi really played a starring role.
Yeah, man.
The Wi-Fi played a starring role. You know what I mean? Because Sister Mary was trying to get in. Sister Demby was trying to get in. Ras Muhammad. They were in and out in the background. You all can't see it in the studio, but they were trying hard. But it was chipping out, so I didn't bring them on the stage. But big up for your Wi-Fi, because the amount of information that you and your queen dropped today, massive. So the Most High knows what he's doing, and it was just ordained to be this way. You know what I mean? And it sparked a good reasoning in the comment section. Again, we have the greatest comment section on the planet Earth. Big up to all the Lion Pride in the comment section. Yeah, man, we love the interaction, the knowledge dropping, the controversial questions, the jokes, everything that happens in the comment section. We welcome it here because we want to sharpen our sword every time we come on air. And the comment section always forces thought. And I want to thank you all, because you all are part of the starring role of this channel and what makes this channel special. The people who watch live, who take the time to watch live. We will be coming forward later this evening. I'm headed out to the African Liberation Day celebration. I have to give a discussion on His Majesty's role in African Liberation Day to my Pan-African family. So I have a big responsibility, and I'm also going to be performing as well. So I'm very excited about that. We are on the way to do that. We are also, this evening, we have the legendary Sekou Tafari. So we will be back live this evening. So set your clock, 7 p.m. Okay, this is the wrong flyer. 7 p.m. We will be back live here on the Lion Voice Network for Reading Ras on the Front Line. We got 3 books that we'll be highlighting this evening with our regular monthly edition with the elder. And, you know, we're going to go into some geopolitics one of our best geopolitical commentators, Ras Tafari. So if you love that, tune in with us tonight. We got a full schedule, and this tonight will wrap up our African Liberation Day programming. And this episode here really, I think, was a capstone moment for our month of programming. You all dropped so much knowledge about African liberation in the context of the West African, transatlantic kidnapping, because it wasn't trading, as you say, it was kidnapping, it was prisoners of war. But you all dropped so much knowledge today. I think it was a perfect conclusion to our programming. June, we will start a new month. June is going to be International Morality Month. On the Lion Voice Network, we're celebrating the 90th anniversary of His Majesty's speech to the League of Nations, June 30th. It will mark 90 years since 1936, when His Majesty graced the rostrum in Geneva and gave a speech that would change the world. So we're going to be commemorating that speech. We're going to have Bongo Jerry Small. We're going to have all of our usual people coming on line and talking about this historic moment. So make sure, if you're not subscribed, you subscribe to the platform and stay in tune. Sister Kenya, we're going to have you come forward again by yourself so we can get your story and your journey. You know that we have the most Rastafari woman content on the planet Earth on the Lion Voice Network. There's no repository on the planet that has more female voices than the Lion Voice Network when it comes to Rastafari. It's not even close. So we definitely want to get your story. And then we need both of you to come back for our show, Lion Love, because we need to just dive into this love story and what it's like in terms of just how you all maintain this long-term relationship, because we need to give tools to our young kings and our young queens and to how to maintain a long-term loving relationship. This is just as important as any other liberation work that we're doing, is that relationship, because we got to stop these single parent homes, and Rastafari is full of them, and we can't just ignore it. We have to model His Imperial Majesty and Empress Menin in all respects, not just some respects. You know what I mean? So I really give thanks for the item example today. And we'll be in touch, Chief Foday. I'll get your number from Baba Senghor, so that we can be in touch directly, and we will continue this. Again, this is your platform now. So anything you were doing, even with the tour, I would love to do an episode just focus on your tour business and promoting the tour business so that we can drive some traffic that way as well. I would love to be on that tour as Lion Voice Network recording the next edition in November. So who knows what will happen. So we try to make that happen. For my Lion Voice family, make sure tomorrow, our Lion Voice Network on Patreon, we have our May Town Hall meeting tomorrow. Make sure that if you're not a member of the Patreon, join the Patreon. We have Empress Danielle. She's one of our longtime Patreon members. She left a 6-figure corporate America job and now is planning her repatriation to Ghana. She has come across some information she's going to be sharing with us on how to prepare for things to come. And as you know, America is going to be facing unprecedented economic hardship in this coming summer as the oil shortage hits the market. We still haven't got the full impact. So we want to make sure that our Lion Pride families are prepared for what's coming. This is going to be a long war. So we want long-term resilience. We're not just trying to do this on a hype. We need to start to prepare ourselves and reconfigure ourselves. Many of us are preparing for repatriation, so we need to know how to do this the right way. as a family. So give thanks, Chief Foday, give thanks, Sister Kenya, once
Yeah, man.
again for
Thanks again.
everything. Yes, and we will continue on the journey, and you know that the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story, and
Tell our
this
own story.
is the Lion's voice. Yes, I, Rastafari.
Yo, blessed love. This is Max Breeze. It's time for the Lions to tell their own story. See? God bless.
Blessed love. Yes, I. Lion Voice Network.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Rastafari. Lion of it, tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for Lions to tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Ras hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men in bless. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, Rastafari, hear you.
Aye.
Empress man, alliance I tell. Oh, you're universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the Lion's Voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the power to chant. Jah give her the power to chant. Rastafari, the Lion's Voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the Lion's Voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the Lion's Voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint. and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.